Your comment was probably on the equal shares, like you said, because that's even the first one, like, and I guess it's coming down to if that even matters when they divided it there, but I've been noticing I'm having my kids do diagrams and they don't do equal parts, and then they come up with an incorrect answer. And even the first thing I did with fractions was I put up like 8 different examples, and I had them sort them, like which ones were fourths and which ones weren't, and they chose ones that were divided like that, where they weren't equal, because like they don't have that background knowledge. But I don't know if it's worth saying something about when they're still getting to the right answer. I don't know.
I was initially very concerned when I started drawing his 12s like this out of the circle, but I figured I'm going to let him go and see what happens to see if he can still get to the same answers. And in this case, his sloppiness caused him to initially get the wrong answer, but it didn't necessarily matter that they weren't equal because he knew they were equal, he knew they were all pieces of cake, and as long as there were 12, there actually were 12 of them, he could still do what he needed to do.
Right.
I wonder if using a different shape, because using squares or rectangles is much easier to make equal shapes, size. You can draw a cake and then they'd have equal pieces because then you don't have to undo this later. Because you might have to undo this, like Natalie's saying, if you start having them draw for different word problems, you may have to undo the fact that they didn't draw them equal before, then it becomes important. So it's just something to think about. How do you move them that way?
And I think it goes down to, at the end, the concept of a fraction. That the bottom part is not just how many they're divided by, it's their equal parts. Yeah. How many equal parts it's made into. And I know, like, I've talked to the 8th grade teacher, and all of these misconceptions that are getting them right answers now are definitely catching up with them as they go down the road. And I'm not saying fractions in particular, but so I think it would be interesting to have that conversation. And when do you get them there?
You know what would be interesting as either an exit ticket or a bell ringer would be to put up 2 versions of 12s.
Yeah.
Like the circle like that and then a correct one. And say which one represents 5 12s or something like that, and see, and they have to choose and then tell me why. Mm-hmm. So that way you can explore their work, bring their work into it, and then allow them to think through what they did. So that might be a good way to kind of segue into it or move ahead. I have to say, the confidence that your kids have is amazing. Like, they just talk like, and you said that your EL class, I was like, they were pretty confident in their speech. Very confident the way they were talking.
And they worked, like even, I mean, the little things were petty, but they worked well together as a whole. The things they were saying were not really.
There wasn't just one person dominating conversation. Right. It was, you heard lots of different input. You had one person drawing, one person explaining, one person throwing in stuff. It was like, it was real group work. That was really nice. Mm-hmm.
That's the kind of thing we were talking about earlier. Once you develop that, then other situations you have less to worry about once you know that when you set a group, they're going to work together. They're going to correct each other. Because it happened here at 4, and you go, no.
Like in this first group, like when you were talking about how can that happen, I immediately thought of that because they worked so well together. That like they all worked on one board, whereas a lot of other groups had like their own individual, then they brought it to the table. But this group could just do it together, and it was okay. No one felt offended or that someone was dominating.
Are they all about the same level, or are they grouped like high, medium, high?
I have like basic and below basic kids, so there's not a lot of variety.
Yeah.
So there probably are 2 below basic, 2 basic.
Okay. I wonder if that makes it a little bit easier, because I found in my class when we were having, like especially my morning where I have more advanced kids, like they want to either dominate the conversation or they just do their work and don't have a conversation at all. And I mean the kids already know very well like who already gets math in general, and so if that other person isn't talking, then they won't talk in front of them either because they're like, I don't really know what's going on and whatever. You know, they already did the work. So I wonder if that is a little bit helpful in some regards, that they feel open to talk to each other.
We should try it.
Yeah.
In different activities,
right,
where the work of the problem is a little more challenging, so they need more time. Because of a faster student and a slower student, that's a mismatch.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.